Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I'm going to use my phone instead of my GoPro just because the quality seemed not what it exactly said that it was. Um, and my phone has pretty good quality video. So I'm going to try this on my phone and see if this is any better. Hopefully it is. But today we're going to be doing some Legion Barricades. Now, this is based off of an article that I had found. I'll link that down below. Credit to them because I just like the style of them, so I wanted to replicate something similar. So these are gonna be like kind of worn, rusty things. But I've got a pile of these suckers. So I'm gonna take you through the process if you're more of a visual person. I'll show you one of them. I am not painting the buttons. I just have no need when they're down in play. It doesn't really matter to me. Sorry about that. But just if you want an idea of kind of where we're going, that's where we're going. So I'm going to get these guys primed up first, just in a generic white paint, and then I'll pick you back up on the bench once they're primed up and ready to go. So. All right, so now that all these things are all primed up, what we're going to be using first is just some generic acrylic burnt umber. I've got a couple brushes. I like to use these little container lids because I'll use the containers for mixing some other things, just for oddball stuff like this. And then just a couple generic oil paints. So using a burnt sienna for the rust and then a black for the wash. I don't really know. I'm still learning washes in that regard. So that's kind of part of the experimenting that I think is interesting. But first, we're just going to take our plain white with the acrylic burnt umber. I've just got some in a lid here. And I'm using these oddball flat foam brush things that I just have a bunch of, and I'll just rip off little pieces of them and then fold it up and put it in these little tweezers. So it's just a little tiny sponge. If you have other sponge methods, you could do that as well, but this is what I tried out and it worked for me. So basically I'm just gonna go ahead and get this guy all kind of covered, just to make sure kind of got what I need. And then you're just gonna kind of go around and do it kind of light, because you can kind of feather in more of it if you want. So I wouldn't press too hard. And you're gonna kind of just lightly put in these worn spots. Now, I think I noticed almost the heavier that I go in some spots, the better. And then you could really focus on some of the rust in those spots. So I'm going to try with this one to go a little bit heavier than I typically would, just to see, out of curiosity, what the results are. Something you can kind of notice happening is a little bit of the sponging kind of disappearing. If that happens, you might want to kind of redo your sponge. I'm not super concerned with it, to be honest, not with kind of what I'm going for here. So this is going to be fine for me. But I'm going to go ahead and essentially repeat this on all of these things, all the sides. And then I'm going to clear coat it. Now with an oil wash, from what I understand, is that an oil wash will take off better from a glossy finish than a matte finish. You could see You can kind of see there in the corner right there that it pulled some of the paint off. Now, in my application, that does not really matter for me because these are beat up things anyways. So I'm probably still going to use a Rust-Oleum matte, which is honestly still a little bit more glossy than a matte finish, which is what I did with that guy over there. And again, the results I think are fine. So I'm probably still going to do the same thing. If you are concerned with that, you could do a gloss clear coat over the umber before you do anything oil related, and you shouldn't have that issue. But I'm going to get all these guys sponged and clear coated, and I'll come back and I'll show you this kind of rust effect.
This is the way.
Alrighty, so these are all clear coated, and like I said, this is kind of more of like a satin, to be honest, but this clear coat specifically doesn't matter as much as the next clear coat because the wash isn't going on this. So in this lid here, I have just a little bit of mineral spirits, and then here I've got just a little bit of that burnt sienna. I'm going to try to show this to you best I can. Might be a little bit difficult just because of where I have the camera, but again, I will try to illustrate this as best I can. I'm just using a little point brush. So basically, we're going to get a little bit of this sienna, and we're just going to go ahead and put little kind of blobs where we want our streaks to start. So maybe like here, here, maybe some around, here, maybe here, somewhere around here. Basically, wherever you want your streak to kind of start from. And then we're going to take that flat brush with just a little bit of mineral spirits on it and basically just drag it downward. And that's going to be kind of the part that I think is going to be a little difficult to show on camera just because of the positioning of stuff, but I will try to illustrate it at least a couple times. So, like I said, I'm just going to get a little bit of this. A couple little blobs. So, gonna see that. Now, I'm just gonna take this, soak up some of this. And this is kind of where things get a little, because the direction that you pull it does matter. And you, because it is oil, you do have a little bit of play with this. So you can kind of add in a little bit. But you can kind of see. And if you want the tops to be a little more pronounced, you can go back after you do your streaking and add back a little bit of that blobbing near the top. But that is essentially what we're doing. I'm going to do this all over all of these guys. And then, like I said, I'm going to clear coat these again with this matte. If you want to be safe, I would gloss clear it, do the wash, and then matte clear it afterwards. But that is essentially how we're doing this rust effect. I'll try to show you one more time, and then we're going to take care of the rest of these guys. So get a little bit of this oil. Let's get a blob here. Might be a bit much, but given the kind of nature of what this is, the specifics don't really matter, because they're dirty and beat up. That is kind of the whole point. I would recommend just trying to vary your thicknesses so you don't have all the same width streaking. So try to get some more narrow in, kind of like this right here, just to break up the visuals. And again, given the nature of it, if you pull it a little crooked, you can just add a little bit around it to kind of clear up that crookedness. But that is basically what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'll bring you back. I'll show you how I do a wash, whether or not it's correct or not, but that is the gist of the rust effect that we're doing, and now it's just a tedious kind of process of covering all of these. So I'll put you guys back on time lapse, and I'll get all these things taken care of. Okay, so these things have sat for quite a while. I did end up doing a gloss clear just out of curiosity. I did go a lot heavier with the rust effect on these. So I just wanted to try to give it a little bit more time to relax. But now, in, again, these lids, because why not? I've mixed up some very probably poor black wash with some black oil paint and some mineral spirits. Again, I'm not super proficient in oils or really anything, just something I've started messing with out of curiosity. But I'm probably going to do these in sets of 2, maybe 3, depending, and then I'll wipe them off with some sponges. Again, I am hesitant to leave it sitting for too long because of it wanting to peel paint off things, but with the gloss, I shouldn't have as much of an issue. I guess we're gonna see. So I'm just gonna get some of this here. And again, I'm just gonna slather this all over, basically. Make sure that we are covered. You could also absolutely leave this as it is right now, and it would be fine. It just depends on the aesthetic that you want. The white is a bit bright for me. Now, obviously, you could use like a gray base to do this over to get a different look. But I've noticed on some of the Republic things that I painted, I kind of like the coloring that I get with doing a wash like this over the white. This kind of, I don't know, feels a little bit more natural, I guess. I don't know how to really explain that, but if you aren't going to do a wash, I would not do the stark white unless that's the look that you're going for, because it is very, very bright. And again, this, given the nature of it, it's not very scientific. It's kind of just get it all over everything. I would definitely recommend wearing gloves because it is very messy. So why not? I'll do a third one. Might come back to bite me, but it's here. Might as well. And again, I don't know if my ratios for oils are correct. What I do know is I'm never gonna figure that out unless I just do it. So I picked up some of the stuff a little while back and just started messing with it, and I've had varying results. The whole matte clear oil grabbing thing helped quite a bit. So unfortunately, it is just something you're going to have to get and experiment with until you kind of figure out what really works for you. And again, gloves, because it gets all over everything. And something like this where you're trying to so just gonna, yeah, I do want these to be a little bit more white than the other ones, but if they come out a little dirty, that's all right, because that is technically the main goal here. You might want to consider changing out your gloves, just again depending on the look that you're going for, but I'm not worried about it. Something to note is you could wipe to get most of it off, but I would pat to give it a little bit more of a natural look. But I think that is good. I apologize if you can hear the Maniac's dogs upstairs. I can't do anything about that. I am sorry. I try to time these as best I can so y'all don't have to deal with that, but I can't control it all the time, that is for sure. So I'll show you one more of these guys, and then I'll loop y'all for or put you on time lapse for the remainder, and I will show you what we got once we get to the end. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and grab a new sponge here. Try to get these a little bit more white, and go back and kind of pat these down a little. Again, especially these edges, I'm not particularly concerned with, just given the nature of what I'm doing here. It's kind of a good thing about oils is, especially when they're mixed with something, you should have a decent amount of time to work with them to kind of get it to the result that you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and do the remainder of these guys, and then I'll bring you back at the end and show you what we got. Okay, there you have it. Hopefully that was easy to follow, easy to understand. If you have any questions or anything about kind of the specifics or clarifications or anything, I'm probably going to hit these with another couple coats of matte just to dull them down, because that gloss is kind of coming through. But hopefully this helped you take your rather bland Legion barricades and turn them into something that's a little bit more in universe. I might actually do this for a couple things. I'm resin printing a couple sniper replacement proxy things currently, so I might do some painting videos on that. But for now, this is just a taste, a prototype, if you will. So if you have any thoughts or ideas or recommendations, criticisms, anything for this type of content, please let me know. I'm going to look into getting a microphone, just because the phone video quality I think is fine, but the microphone not particularly great. So if you like this type of content, subscribe, hit the like button. I appreciate all of you stopping by and checking this out. Until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.